That's the tough question. And
Oh,
part of
okay.
it you're going to like.
Good.
And I in no way mean to be disrespectful, but I do want to
Sure.
share something with you about industry trends I've seen. First, the good news, something that you probably are aware of and may like. The single most successful media trainer communications coach I've ever heard of comes from an acting background, Michael Shien. He went to the Yale School of Drama, was a part of a theater in Washington, D.C., and started working with, I won't talk about politics, but one political party.
Okay.
And was sort of brought in as a friend of a friend. Hey, can you help this person get ready for, I think, a hearing or a campaign speech? He did that, kind of fell into it. Then he got invited by one of the major parties to prepare all the candidates before the 1984, one of the major political conventions in 84. Did it again in 88. 92. Here, I will get political, folks, but we're not here to talk about politicians you don't like. He was Bill Clinton's media trainer. Boom. Well, Bill Clinton becomes president, gets a reputation around the world as one of the best speakers. Everybody wants this guy. Boom. He's got more business than 6 full-time trainers can handle. My
Amazing.
understanding is his fee goes up to $20,000 a day, and
Wow.
life is good. And he's still doing this, to my understanding. I hired him once when I was on the inside working for a member of Congress, and you can never, it's very difficult to train someone when you're full-time staff. So I've seen him in person. I've been at Campaigns and Elections magazine seminars where he was there, and I've been he's very, very good. So when I'm talking about people from the theater background, keep in
Yeah.
mind, I have him as the most
Sure.
successful trainer I've ever seen. So I
Yeah.
am not taking some broad brush and saying anyone with a theater actor is horrible. Now, so that's the good news. The bad news, you might not like this.
Okay.
But for 25 years, I was based in the New York City area, and I was president of the National Speakers Association, New York, while also doing media training and public speaking training. So I met countless people with acting backgrounds, either in the communication skills training space or trying to enter it. And here was the problem I saw with their approach. Actors, by definition, love to stand up and talk about feelings and emotions. Business people, for the most part, do not want to do that. And I always found a disconnect. And in countless times, I've talked to corporate clients who hired me. I said, well, who have you used in the past? And they said, well, we hired this actor, and it was a complete waste of time because they wanted to stand up and talk about feelings. They never even video recorded us because they wanted to turn it into an acting workshop. So I have found personally that when someone's coming from the acting background, they're bringing their world. Let's stand up and do a workshop and talk about feeling, and not even video record. So I generally have a bias against anyone who tells me they had anything to do with the acting world when they're coming into the communication space. The other thing that's related to that, and I want to give you full time to respond to this.
It's all good. Yeah, yeah.
And the thing I have found with so many people from the acting world is they don't even video record people in the trainings. The number one thing I do that I think helps my clients the most, frankly, is when I work with someone, even if it's a group of 10 people, everyone gets on video, not once, not twice, but 10 times in a day. To me, the real learning moment, the magic moment, is when someone sees themselves coming across exactly the way they want to come across. That's ultimately what gives confidence. And so many people in the acting world, it's just about how you feel in the moment up on the stage. They never see themselves. So,
right.
What's your response to this? Do you think I'm being wildly unfair? How many times do you video record people is really kind of the question I always ask people from the acting world, because they typically don't. And I don't mean to assume that you don't.
Yeah.
So there, I've said my piece. Let me give you full time for rebuttal.
Yeah. No, that's great. Well, first, I love the story about Michael Shien.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a great story about how he was able to take the world of acting and bring it right up to the president. That's just absolutely quite a leap. So absolutely,
and
keep him up
Obama,
there.
He to this day he continues to train major world leaders.
So he's gone against the grain of where, where you're seeing where he's managed to figure out the formula of, what can you bring from the world of acting and put it into the world of business, and even more so into the world of politics, which is like a whole other world unto itself.
Yes.
I love the idea when how many times you video, because you nailed it. It kind of goes back to what I said at the beginning. Everybody thinks they're a good communicator. It's kind of like when you hear your voice first time on the when we used to have answering machines, and you'd sort of play back your outgoing message and go, "What? I sound like that? I talk so fast. My voice is so high." It's the same thing with the video. People don't realize how many times they're thinking, they're thinking face. So they're looking up to the sky for an answer and they're missing the point to genuinely connect, as an example. So video recording is absolutely so important, because you won't believe it until you see it. That's what it boils down to.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. Some actors got into communication skills and feel, I'm so aware of the fluffy, the feelings. And I never really say, we talk about feelings, because when you want to get someone to talk about feelings, ask them, what are their, and this is what I learned quickly with consultants was, I wouldn't say, how did that feel when we would do something? Because they would say 6.7. And instead I would say, what are your thoughts on that?
Mm-hmm.
And then they go, oh, and then they would express often feelings. So it was changing the question. So it wasn't a feeling type question, but it really was about feelings. So often it is about, what are your thoughts on, where you grew up? What are your thoughts on this method of doing this? What are your thoughts on the change? Not how do you feel about change? How do you feel about change? Not good. What are your thoughts on change? Oh, I have lots of thoughts on that. And it's always going to be feelings.
Mm-hmm. And related to this, and this is my last beef. I don't mean to rake you over the coals, but my other beef with actors is they're looking for another chance to perform. They think of a training as, now I get to be on stage and share wisdom. And I was guilty of that early in my career. In fact, at the end of the day, I'd be tired. My throat would be sore. What I have found, certainly in the last 15 years, the less I talk, the better the training experience it is for the client. The more they actually improve, the more they like me, the more they're likely to rehire me. So if I'm tired at the end of a day, or my throat is even tiniest bit sore, that means I talked too much. How do you try to balance the amount of time you talk versus getting people to actually speak and watch themselves and learn from that?
Yeah.